Hi, let's look at this question together. PQRS is a square. The shaded part A and B are two squares with difference area. All the corners of A and B either lies on the side of the square PQRS or on the line QS. What fraction of the square is shaded? Okay, so first from the question we know that PQRS is a square, which means that PQ is equal to QR. Okay, the shaded part A and B, these two shaded part are square, so which means that this side is equal to this side and this side is equal to this side. Okay, but remember they are different area, so these two areas are different. All corners of the squares are A and B are lie either on the side, okay, or on the line QS. Okay, so with this information, what can we do? Okay, first we separate this big square into two triangles, the upper triangle and the lower triangle. Okay, so for the lower triangle we have the shaded part B. So what I can do is that we can use a knife and cut it diagonally. This is the center point of the bigger square. I cut it diagonally. You realize that the triangle 1 in red color here is equal to the triangle 2 in red color here. Similarly, triangle 3 and triangle 4 are equal. So these four parts are actually of the same size, and the shaded part is 2 units. So for QRS, triangle QRS, I can say 2 out of 4 are shaded, or half of them are shaded. Okay. For shaded part A, under the PQS side, this upper triangle, okay, you notice that I cannot simply just draw a diagonal line here because it doesn't give me anything. Okay, but if I cut it into a smaller pieces, I notice that 2 and 5 are of the same size because this is a square. 3 and 4 are the same size because this is a square. 7 and 8 is the same size, it's a square, and so on. And we also know that the triangle number 9 and number 8 are actually of the same size because the length to the length here is the same and the height is the same. Okay, so from here the upper square we can cut it into total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces. Okay, so 9 pieces, how many are shaded? Out of which 4 are shaded. Okay, so now you know that the upper triangle is 4, 9 shaded, below triangle is half shaded. So what is the total area that's shaded? So the total area shaded is 4 over 9 times half plus half times half. The question is why? Okay, I think a lot of the solution pasted on the Facebook, they just show you the formula but did not explain to you why. I will share with you why that's later. Okay, so 4 over 9 times half will give you 4 over 18, half times half will give you 1 quarter. So if you add them up, you convert 18, you multiply by 2, you get 36. 9 times 4, you get 36. So you convert, you become 13 over 36. So the area that is shaded is, the fraction is 17 over 36. Okay, so let me now focus on the part of why I need to multiply a half and half here. Instead of just saying that 4 over 9 plus half, why do I need to multiply a half here? Okay, so let me give you one simple example which is less complicated. So if you have a big square and you have a 2 smaller square, okay, you cut it into 4 equal parts, okay, and 2 of which I just shaded it. Of course you can shade on top and shade below, is the same as long as you shade 2 square. Okay, now the question is, what is the percentage, or what is the fraction of the square that are shaded? Straight away, visually, we know there's half because out of the 4 square, 2 of them is shaded. But let's use the same method as what we did above. Okay, so now instead of top triangle and bottom triangle, I call it the left rectangle and the right rectangle. Okay, so imagine I work on the left rectangle first. So the left shaded is half, okay, because 2, 1 shaded. The right also 2 square but 1 shaded, so it's also half. So the total shaded area will be half times half plus half times half. Okay, why do I multiply this half? Because for the original object, I cut it into two pieces of equal part. So this is one part, this is one part, and these two is exactly the same. So for this big object, I cut it into two parts. So that's why I multiply by half and multiply by half, because it says that half of this half is shaded and half of this half is shaded. That's why I do it. So you multiply it is 1/4 plus 1/4 will give you half, which is correct because visually when we see is half. Okay, so now just to make sure that our understanding is correct. So what happens now if a rectangle and I chop it into three parts? Same thing, each part will be half that is shaded. So I call it the left, the middle, and the right. Each part will be shaded half. Okay. So what is the total shaded area? In this case, because of this big rectangle, I chop into three parts. So this is half of 1/3 of this whole picture. So that's why it's half times 1/3. So half middle also the same, half of 1/3 of this whole rectangle. Because remember this is only 1/3 of the whole rectangle. So it's 1/3 plus the other half of 1/3 of the right. Okay, so if you multiply, you get 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 is 3/6 is equal to half, which is the same as if you see visually. So now I hope you understand why the question, the answer for some of the solution provided they multiply by a half. Okay, I thought this is a very important part that your child should know. Thank you.